Hi everyone, welcome back to LUWES STEM Club. I've got Angeline and Sanya with me. Say hi guys.
Hiya!
Hello,
I'm the chemist in the group.
And I do material science and engineering.
and I'm doing product design engineering.
Awesome. This is just going to be very relaxed, very fun. We have a tin foil challenge for you. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about the challenge? What are we going to do?
Yeah, so I guess everyone as a child, at least I did, made some type of aeroplane or boat out of paper. But that is actually some design and engineering going on right there. So today we are having a competition to see who can make the best boat out of tinfoil.
Yeah, honestly, this
That's
is like
it.
my first time making a boat out of foil because usually paper and card, there's a lot more structural integrity to it, whereas foil is a bit flimsy. So we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes.
We'll see how these boats turn out. So the little challenge here is we're gonna be first seeing if the boat will actually float, and also putting some coins in the boat to see how many it can hold. Okay, so guys, are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay,
What kind of design are you going to go for?
The largest surface area, so there's more like buoyancy. Yeah, because that's how
Mm.
forces work.
So Angelina, I hear that you are a product design engineer.
hmm
How
So,
did you come to pick that?
well, I was actually doing mechanical engineering, and it was very like theory based. We were learning like dynamics, like thermal fluids, and there was just so much theory and no there's not much application that I just felt very textbook. I really wanted to have a go at the design process because as product design engineers, like my course, what we're doing it from basically from conceptualization to making the designs, doing like the
Okay.
visualizations, the CAD rendering, to prototyping, and then to
Ooh,
like manufacturing as well. So we do like the whole like from start to finish, where
yeah.
we have skills in the entire process. So it's
That,
a lot more involved in every aspect of making a product or a system.
mhm.
So that's what I really like
Okay,
about my course.
I've had
that's
a product
interesting.
design course in my degree, and I have to say, some people loved it. Some people, like me, weren't the biggest fans. I find it so hard from conceptualization to then just come up with something like something tangible, something that you can actually touch. But I do got to say, when you hold the finished product in your hand, so satisfying.
Feels so good.
It becomes your baby. Like, yes,
Literally.
I've made you.
With chemistry is a bit more, you're looking into the structure of molecules a bit more. It's what we're covering is more the physical, the organic, the inorganic chemistry, developing your analytical skills. But we do cover things like thermodynamics and kinetics, so concepts come into it as well. And I remember watching the last episode where Hannah mentioned how it's good to learn maths because it never leaves you really.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
yeah, if you're doing maths right now, just keep going.
It
It's
will get
really gonna
better
help out.
eventually. It'll make sense. Everything just clicks into place
It'll
at the
make
very end.
It's a lot of practice. I think once you get the hang of it, you start to understand the concept, and
Yeah.
then
mm,
once you understand that, you start to see applications everywhere in the world. So I had this coursework,
for you.
so we had a bunch of different parameters. We were supposed to design the best plane design. So we had to test like different velocities and plot out a graph. But because like the points were all so far and few in
Yeah.
between, we had to kind of model it and like create an equation in Excel just to find like that sweet spot where it just like tapers off, that
Yeah.
like minimum point. And oh man, differentiation really helped us there. So don't give up,
Oh,
kids.
interesting. Cool. Do you know when you were back in high school that you always wanted to do subjects with maths and science, just like STEM subjects or
No, I actually have a funny story here. So, from the age of about 9 till I was 16 years old, probably, I wanted to be a lawyer. I was so set on studying law at university. I did not want to do anything else. I didn't think I'd do anything else. And then I did a work experience in a law firm. Don't get me wrong, some people love it, but I finished that week and was like, wow, I can't do that for the rest of my life. So then I sat back and thought, what are my actual favorite subjects in school at the moment? And the answer was physics, chemistry, and maths. So then after I searched around for a bit, I found something that kind of encompassed all three in kind of a ratio that I liked, and that's how I found the degree I'm doing now, which is wild because it's like a complete 180 turn from what I wanted to do before.
That's cool though. It shows how much work experiences is really an eye-opener.
100%. And it might be hard sometimes to get it, but if you're able to just kind of get a flavor of what it is you want to do, it can completely change your mind. Like I'm on placement right now, and what I'm doing doesn't have much to do with my degree either, but it's still so interesting to work in industry and kind of see engineering in practice. It is really cool. What about you, Lily? Did you always know you wanted to kind of go into a STEM field?
No, it was just a matter of it's time to decide what GCSEs you want to do. And with my school, it was these are the choices that are available to you. This is the route that we advise for you to take. And just so happened that STEM was in the mix. So I went on with it, and this is where I've turned out in the end. It wasn't more of this is my favorite subject, I'm gonna go with it, because I don't think I really had a favorite subject. I know what I disliked the most, but I didn't have
So what subject did you dislike the most? That's always a fun question.
Ooh.
Everyone says their favorite. No one ever says their least favorite.
Okay, fine. I'll say that my least favorite was history.
History was one of my A-level choices, along with 3 other STEM subjects. It was quite a rogue choice, but I loved it personally.
A break from the maths and science.
Yeah, literally.
Actually, that's super helpful. Like people, when they're trying to figure out what they want to do in like university, like they always think, oh no, what do I like? And like some people just don't have stuff that they like. But I think the most important question is, what do you not like?
Not like, 100%.
That's also useful, exactly.
Yeah.
Because for me, I was in mechanical engineering before, because I was like, I'm good at maths, I'm good at physics, I'm good at chemistry. Let's do mechanical engineering. It's like, and they were like,
why
know
not?
how they advertise mechanical? It's like, oh, it's not just science, it's creativity as well. So I'm like, okay, I'll get on that, because I am. I would say I'm a pretty creative person. I mean, I'm doing product design engineering. So I was like, I'll get on that. I sure hope so. So, but when I went in, their creativity was a lot more focused on problem solving and innovation. So how you would solve a problem creatively. And if that's for you, I mean, that's great. Like, but for me, I was more of the ideas. Like I had so many ideas. And with mechanical, they kind of just want you to narrow down and focus on like problem solving and solutions.
Problem solving, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think once you know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses,
100%.
that really helps with choosing.
Definitely.
That's a good technique.
Always just try and pick a degree or options for your GCSEs or A-levels that you enjoy. That's just the most important thing. It's always going to be easier if you enjoy it.
Yeah. And make sure to ask your teachers as well, why did they decide to choose chemistry? Why did they decide to choose physics? And if they know any roles that they think that might interest you, you can talk about it with them as well, because they might have even a bigger perspective.
100%.
How are your boats looking at the moment?
I think I've finished mine. I've gone for more of a kind of baskety shape.
That looks good.
How's yours looking, Lily?
My one's like Angeline, it looks flat like that.
I think we've all kind of gone for having a wide surface area, kind of all the weight at the bottom, to make sure that it's distributed across. Try and get that to float.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say from experience, like with design, the simplest design is usually the best.
Always the best. Yeah.
Well, should we test it out and see if they can float?
Yeah, 100%.
Are we good? Are we good for that?
Water.
Moment of truth.
Ooh, okay, mine's floating. Wow.
Right, here's the water.
Okay.
See that?
Oh yeah, you can a little bit. Awesome. As we go along, we're just going to be sharing an advice that we would give our younger self in secondary school as we put the pennies in. So, okay, I'll start. Yeah. Okay, so I've got penny number 1. Let's see if it floats. Okay, so it's floating. Okay, advice that I would give my high school self: keep asking questions. Right? Yeah, don't be afraid to think that even if you're the only one in the class is asking questions, keep asking questions, because once you go home, it's you and your textbooks, and you don't want to get confused.
I think that's
always
important. Like sometimes you might be embarrassed to something to ask, but honestly, the quickest way you're going to get an answer is to ask it, and it's always great. Yeah, I agree. That's a piece of advice.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like if you're just like stuck and like you just not ask questions, like there's so much information that you're not like opening yourself up to, and that really builds on the fear of like, oh, I don't know how to do this, or maybe science is not for me. But I think once you learn how to ask the right questions and learn to overcome that fear, then I think it would be like a great learning journey for you.
Yeah, and it'll be easier for you to ask questions if at first you didn't do that before.
Yeah.
So our boats are floating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one penny down.
Strong, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm putting one more in, and then I think a piece of advice I'd give myself when I was in secondary school is probably 2 things. Time management is key. So make sure that when you set a time aside to do something, don't procrastinate, actually get it done, because you'll thank yourself for it later. And also, don't stress. I was such a stressy child. I still am a person who stresses a lot now. Don't stress. Everything works out in the end, and you can always ask people for help if it doesn't.
My advice would just be, I think, trust yourself and not be afraid, because I've always doubted, like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough at this, which led me to doing mechanical engineering, because I believed I wasn't creative enough to go do product design. Because in my country, there weren't much options to try DT, like design technology or arts, as that's like more limited. So I was just like, oh, I don't have the skills to do it. Like I literally just started doing design from my first year here. And
that's amazing.
And it's going great. It's like, just don't be afraid, like especially when you're choosing a course, I think, in university, or just like A-levels or O-levels in general. Just because you haven't had any prior experience doesn't mean you're not capable of doing it.
Yeah. That's very good.
That is an amazing piece of advice as well. Definitely take the risk.
Yeah, if you know, like, trust yourself. You know, only you know what you want to do.
100%.
So
and it can be daunting, but I think if you begin to trust yourself, it's not going to be a standing block for you in the future, because you'll believe in yourself. So even if something may happen, you're able to combat it because you keep trusting yourself that you can overcome it. So that's a good advice, Angelina. I like that.
Mine is, I'm surprised mine's still going.
I've got 2 coins. Let me just walk you through my design. Okay.
In the meantime, I'm going to try with a 3rd coin going in. Let's see.
Getting adventurous, are you? So I'll just walk through my design. So the most important thing is a large surface area. Just don't mind the dripping water. And, as a product design engineer, especially on like designers in general, we're really into the user experience. Like I don't know, I've always liked making products specifically for users, whereas mechanical was more for like or for a system, or like a
Yeah.
like a machine, whereas like product design is you're making a product for a person. So I went for like a really short wall. So
Mhm.
you know, it helps me put in the pennies easier because
Okay.
That's true.
it's
Yeah.
easy to pick up as well. Because if you have
Yeah.
a wall that's too high, like at some point you don't want to how your fingers, I guess, push
Kind of,
down, like it
okay.
might
Push
sink the
down,
boat
yeah.
a bit.
I actually, that's actually great advice, because I went for high walls, as you saw before in my boat. I did, however, make them much thinner than I made the base, obviously to keep all kind of that density at the bottom, to try and get that bit floating. It's somehow still going, but I'm not too confident about the next coin to go in.
Let's see, guys.
I've
What
just
do you
put in
think?
my
Angeline's or Sanya's boat for the
look.
win?
It's 3 coins. I got my
3
NASA hoodie,
coins.
repping NASA.
All right, let's put another coin in. Let's see what happens.
Okay, I'm going for a 2p this time.
I've
Okay.
got a TP as well.
Ooh, there's some leakage at the bottom there, but it's still floating.
Ooh,
I think that
I'll
might be
take Angeline.
foil.
Mine is still fine. It's got all the
Okay.
coins on display.
Okay, Angeline, do you want to go for the 5th coin?
I've got a 10 pence.
Let's go for it. Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, okay.
You see, 5 coins. How's your boat doing, Lily?
It's gone down to the bottom.
Oh no! A
It's gone
moment
down
of
to the
silence for Lily's boat.
bottom. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I've got a question for you guys. Did you all take GCSEs and then A levels, or did you have more of an unconventional route? How was it like?
Yeah, I did the standard British GCSEs and then A levels into uni.
Yeah, because I'm from Malaysia, but I did the IGCSEs and then I did
Okay.
A levels. So yeah,
Mhm.
same, but a bit different.
Yeah, that's pretty
Okay.
cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know that Loughborough specifically has different entry requirements, and basically I did BTEC instead of A levels,
Oh wow,
and yeah, so I got in with that instead, and
that's amazing.
GCSEs as and GCSEs as well.
That is pretty good. Again, it shows that you can just end up in the same place no matter what route you take, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like pressure to A levels. Like in my country, like everybody was like, okay, pre university, everybody needs to do A levels. But honestly, you need to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
A levels is very examination heavy. It's kind of like you chill for the 2 years, and at the end, it's just like this big exam that you have to get through.
That you. I feel like sometimes you also study for the exam rather than study the content, which obviously it gets quite hard. Yeah.
You know, when you do the revision, like sometimes it's just because you want to pass the exam, like doing the revision, getting everything done, because you know the structure of the exam and everything. For GCSEs, an advice would be actually take your time with the learning process.
Yeah.
Because there's people who take like IBs as well. So there's a variety in our course as well. Do you have that, or is it just A levels in your course?
Oh yeah, I think there are a bunch of different people, obviously again from different countries, which is obviously really exciting. So they each have kind of like their own standard exams, and so yeah, we have a big range. It's not like everyone does the same A levels, same GCSEs. Here you are, same uni course. There is like a whole bunch of different backgrounds. I know one of my very good friends in the course, she did product design A level, and so again, you can play really to your different strengths in the different modules you have kind of across your degree. And it is really cool to see when you get put in a group for a group coursework, how everyone thinks differently depending on what they've done before.
Cool. All right, let's try and see who the winner is. Hopefully one. Well, I don't want one to sing, but let's see if we get one.
I do
There you
think,
go.
I'm not gonna lie, the way my boat's looking, my money is on Angeline too. Like, literally my money.
Oh, that's a nice pun. Right.
Okay, shall we go for it? 3,
Yep.
2, 1. Oh.
Oh. Oh.
So. No, it's still floating. It technically hasn't gone to the
It's
bottom yet.
alive.
It is looking quite tragic, but it's still floating.
Okay, I think
There's a layer of water, but it still hasn't reached the bottom. So it's sinking slowly.
that's
Titanic
interesting.
style.
Okay, so it's sinking slowly, but it's not quite there yet.
No.
And meanwhile, we've got Angeline's, which is still strong, still on.
Dot them around.
Let's pack in some coins on the boat and see which one will sink first. Let's see.
Okay, let's go for it.
I think a very important thing with putting these coins is knowing their weights, because if it's unbalanced, it would tip. And then
Yeah.
this is where my design has a flaw, because my walls aren't that tall, right? So if it tips enough, water
It
could
will.
seep in and it would sink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with Sanya's, like, because her walls are so tall, there's less chance of that happening.
Of that happening.
Yeah.
You
But
did
there's a-
say that, but I think mine had a little hole at the bottom because as
Oh,
soon as I
no.
put it in the water, there was a few droplets coming in from a corner, but mine has just hit the bottom. I did manage to get 9 coins in there.
As you said that, my boat sank.
Oh.
Well, I was.
Okay.
So guys, this is why when you conduct experiments, you need to do stuff with procedures. Because what I did was I sort of just poked it a bit too hard, and instead of using my usual methods of just like picking up the coins nicely, I
just
cut it.
putting it in.
See, this is what happens
Ah.
with too much confidence in your design, right? If you're engineering, yeah. So it tipped. I was trying to move it so it wouldn't tip as much, but that was its
Just went
downfall.
for it. Yeah.
Both of your structures had advantages to it.
Yeah. So in terms of my design, so the reason why boats float is because the water they displace is more dense than the bottom of the boat itself. So I kind of wanted to make mine surface area as big as possible because that would kind of decrease the density. But then still have kind of some light walls going up just to provide that protection for the coins. But again, there's obviously pros and cons to each design, as you would say. So like Angeline said, having smaller walls will kind of allow for that protection whilst putting the coins in, that you won't touch something and tip it over. But yeah, it is quite interesting to see how we've each kind of gone for a different type of boat without really saying before what we were going to do.
I think an interesting observation is that I don't think we determined how much material we could use, because obviously sustainable is such like a big issue now. We don't want to waste
any
materials that we could have taken out and like use it for something else. So
yeah, 100%.
Awesome. So I think we do have a winner, Angeline.
Angeline,
if-
round of applause.
Angeline had last
I don't
standing
know, it kind of
vote.
sank again.
It was the last one standing or the last one floated. You definitely won this round. Yeah, I think that's it for the challenge. Did your boat sink after 2 pennies or after 5? Let us know in the comments. And I hope you had fun. I had fun. This was the first time that I made a tinfoil boat.
I don't want to make another one now. Challenge myself.
I know.
Yeah, I mean
use
that's the
different
cool
tactics.
thing about science and engineering. It's just like the experimentation is to just keep testing, keep improving.
Yeah, always room for improvement.
Hmm.
So if your boat didn't float up first, just change your design and try again.